Chiefs. Brought to you by Sheehan's Rustproofing. The Chiefs have just come out on the ice for a warm-up period. They're about to try for their 5th consecutive win. They're getting a good round of applause from their own booster club, who have traveled all the way from Charlestown to be here in Peterborough tonight.
Need more energy throughout the day? Looking for a kick to your workout? RockinThatIDLife.com has you covered with delicious flavors you've grown to love in tropical fruit and mixed berry, but now fall in love with the new fruit punch and orange flavors. Try them all at RockinThatIDLife.com.
Realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage LLC makes the moving process easier. Work with a realtor who plays and studies the game and will work as hard as the boys on the ice to get you the best deal. Check out Mike on the web at strikewithmike.com and jumpstart your move today. That's strikewithmike.com. Welcome to episode 21 of season 12. This is episode number 430 all time of the often imitated, never duplicated. Tina, you fat lard. Come get some dinner. We're the original St. Louis Blues hockey podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Special thanks to our sponsors, RockinThatIDLife.com, StrikeWithMike.com, and CenterIceBrewery.com for proudly sponsoring the show. Please check them out. Also, don't forget to check out our t-shirt shop at Let'sGoBlues.com for the best blues-themed t-shirts at an unbelievably fair price. It is Wednesday, September 27th, 2 days after my birthday. And we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or X, or whatever Elon Musk feels like calling it today. To interact with the show on social media, our handle on all the socials is at LGB Radio. I'm Kurt Price. My co-host for the big show tonight is Bill Day. Jeff Ponder and Stone Cold Austin Lynch are sitting this one out due to the allegations.
And we will get into the allegations a little bit. But we'll just a little teaser. They are separate allegations.
The agenda for tonight includes a discussion of boots. The preseason games for the Blues are underway, and Torey Krug speaks about his refusal to waive his no-trade clause this offseason. Steve's Hot Dogs opens at Enterprise Center, and there is a there's a plastic. I heard a typo. There's a plastic own outside the Blues. I'm like, what? Owns. Wow. There's a plastic dog outside Bill's
Sheldon is not approving of your jokes this evening. Where's Gidget? So.
There's a plastic owl outside of the Blues the Blues practice rink at Centene Center. Used to keep pigeons away. Yes, this was an actual story on the St. Louis Blues website. You know how people put plastic owls out? You know, in like the rafters of their garage or in a barn or wherever, and keep pigeons and crap away. It's very common. It's very common.
It's only a story if it's the same owl that they used at Cahokia, because they did the same thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, there's got to be something more to this story. It can't just be the fact that there's an owl there to scare pigeons away. And that was it. That was the story. So not gonna get into that, because I just wanted to mention that in the opening, because I found that ridiculous.
It's pretty ridiculous, and you know that owl's not doing a damn thing to help the revenue that Centene's got going.
No, which I didn't have in the notes to talk about, but yeah, they're in financial trouble.
Yeah,
the rink might not stay open. How much trouble have the Blues had with just crap like this? Practice rinks not being able to stay open. Minor league affiliates, moving around, being taken by Vegas. All this crap is kind of a mess with the Blues. All that and more on this episode of Let's Go Blues Radio. Just you and me this week, Bill. It may be the most streamlined show in a while.
Right. We may be done in 5 minutes.
That'll about do it. How's your week been?
It was a weekend, and I had to get myself geared back up for work after a nice 7-day stretch of no work, which
that's nice.
I hadn't done that since like February, so I really don't take enough time off of work. So it was nice. The weekend was good. I'd spent a lot of time last week working on the yard and getting it ready, trying to fix a couple of erosion spots. And then we got 4 inches of rain last night. So
Yeah.
I guess I'll be fixing that again this weekend. So
Yeah, we got dumped on, man. That was and there's sometimes I don't pay attention to the forecasts, and I was out at Plummer Park doing some pickleball, and all of a sudden we see this like nasty crap over in the distance, and it's just like making its way towards us. And you can see it raining and pouring over there. See lightning. It's like, oh man, here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah. Did you get out of it in time?
Finished up our game, and then about 45 seconds later, it dumped on us. So yeah, it was. We got to recover, so it wasn't too bad.
That's good. I was driving home from work, and Julie called me and was like, are you in the middle of this? I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? There's something going on here. And apparently it was hailing here, and it hailed enough that there was a river of hail in my driveway.
Wow.
So
like pea size?
Pea size, yeah.
Okay. It's the most common size hail, right?
Yeah.
Anything less is just snow.
Pretty much. What do they call it? Grapple.
Yeah, and if it's what tennis ball, softball size hail, that's kind of.
Yeah, I've had golf ball size hail when we lived in Troy. We had probably a good $30,000 worth of damage for golf ball size hail. Sounded like a herd of cattle cut across the roof.
Golf ball size hail will see a lot of new roofs going up in the coming months. Yeah.
And it'll all be done by the same crew, subcontracting to 4 companies. That was our experience.
Yeah. Well, and you get a knock on your door after the hailstorm.
Can
we take your roof?
Yeah,
no,
don't
just
hire
call
that
insurance.
guy.
Just call your insurance.
Yeah,
right? I guess. Let's see. Official beers of announcements. We got season 13 of Let's Go Blues Radio will kick off October 11th. We said, right? That's the day before the season opener.
Yes,
with a season preview show. So that's the day before the Blues open the season against Dallas in Dallas. Be 13th season, 13 years. Jesus, that's a long time.
Yeah,
that's a long time for. I mean, it's a long time. It's a long time for. It's an eternity for a podcast.
Yeah, for a local, just love your team sports podcast. Yeah, this is we've got staying power.
I think it just shows that that we have the dedication, you, Jeff, and myself, to do this, and we have enough of an audience that makes it that much more fun, right? To get interaction with folks, get response and feedback, and the past 2-3 seasons we've had some sponsors come on board, so that's just more fun. So it's been a blast, and maybe we'll do 13 more. Who knows?
Yeah, I think we at least have to get it to the point that it can drive. Right. 3 more years.
Drive itself. Yeah. By that time, AI, we could just, put it out there. It's like, and when it turns 16, AI should be the point where it can just run itself. That's a good point.
There will be enough data out there for it to ingest. That's for sure.
Let's see. Jeff's in the chat. What's he saying? I'm literally watching the Knights Kings live at T-Mobile, and I'm watching Kurt and Bill instead. What does that say for the quality of the show? That's right. Or what's it say for the quality of the game he's watching?
Right.
Too.
Preseason hockey in Vegas.
More of that girl, Amy says, you have stamina. I have heard that. Have I told that story on the show?
I don't think you do, but I think at this point you need to. Otherwise, we're just going to think this is pillow talk between you and her.
This was probably 12 years. I've been at my job now since 2005. So that's 18 years. So this is probably 15 years ago, something like that. It's kind of one of those stories at work that goes down in lore. It's just retold all the time. But I was given a presentation on scanning, and how to scan documents for archival purposes and stuff like that in the library. And I was, after it was over, I was talking with some folks I knew that also worked in the library, and they one of the employees there introduced me to somebody else who was fairly new, and said, "Hi, this is Kurt Price. He's got great stamina." And I shook her hand, and I just did a double take. I'm like, what did you just say? And I'm trying to figure out my mind and process it real quick, thinking, how does that apply to anything I just did or said or that we've done? It doesn't. I mean, I don't think you used the right word there. I have great stamina. I mean, I do, but how would you know?
Who? You'll have to tell me off the air who it was that said it.
Yeah, that was, and she's still there.
She's still there.
She's still there. Yeah. I don't. That's a. To this day, I didn't follow up. How do you follow up? What do you say to that after? I'm like, hey, yeah, I do. I don't know what to say. I was speechless. I'm not too often in my life am I like just without words. I'm like, I didn't know what to say. Oh, that hit me out of left field.
That's pretty awkward.
Yeah, and so to this day, the running joke is, I've got the stamina. So, okay. So, official beers of episode number 430. You can follow each of us on the Untapped app. My handle's at cprice12. Jeff's is jponder94, and Bill's is Billy Blue Note 33. Bill, when's the last time you updated your account on? You've done stuff on Untapped.
Untapped, about a month ago.
Okay. See, you're much more active on it than I am. I need to get back on that. So
yeah, I mean, I tried to find something that was similar to Untapped for bourbon, but it's way too wonky for me. Wonky-ish, I should say. But yeah, I've been drinking more bourbon lately than beer. But I updated Untapped about, had to be more than 3 weeks ago when I got my new phone, because I haven't signed into the app since then. So
okay, so it's been a while since I've done it. I tell people, we always tell people in the intro to follow us, and then we don't update it. You do, but I don't. I think Jeff said it's been a while since he's done it too. So this season, the new season resolution for me is to update Untapped regularly.
Maybe we should get them to be a sponsor, and then we'll do it every day.
We'll have to. So, you have a beverage of the show, Bill?
I do. I'm trying to clear out the beer fridge before the season starts and get some newer stuff in there. This was one that was gifted to me last year from a friend who listened to one of the shows where you guys talked about how there are no good breweries in New York. And he's like, oh, well, here's a good one from New York. He said this is a collaboration of Omegang and I forget what other brewery, but it's a crunchy granola. Keep it crunchy granola stout. I think I've had it on the show before. It's good. It's a nice steady stout, not too heavy.
How much of does any granola flavor come through?
No. It's like it's
okay.
There's a difference between an oatmeal stout and a dry stout and an imperial stout, or what are they? A double stout, and this is definitely more towards the oatmeal stout. It's good. I like it.
Okay. I mean, it always bugs me when I see a beer though that has a particular name with a particular food infused in the beer, right? And then you taste it and you can't taste that that element of the beer at all. And I'm like, come on. I mean, it may be good, but it doesn't reflect the name necessarily sometimes.
Yeah.
So that bugs me with beers sometimes.
Yeah. I have down in the beer fridge, I got some of the Founders KBS Blueberry, and I thought this is going to be my favorite beer of all time because I love blueberry. I love KBS, and Founders hasn't done a whole lot wrong ever. And I had one, and I'm like, not doing it for me. So I'm letting it sit for a little bit before I try another.
I'm a big fan of blueberry beer, the Blueberry Blonde from Big Muddy. That I like that a lot. It's a favorite, my favorite blueberry beer. Yeah,
and locally, Old Bakery, right? They've got blueberry. It's not a blueberry blonde. They have some kind of blueberry one that was really good.
I think I've had it. It's been a while. I'm drawing a blank on that though.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you got?
Mine is. I should have the theme song ready.
Nice.
I got I got the Voltron IPA from Four Hands. What's the official name of this beer?
It's
just
Voltron Volume 1.
Voltron Defend of the Universe Volume 1, yeah.
Yeah. Hazy IPA collaboration with Second Shift.
Narrow gauge.
Narrow gauge,
yes.
I knew it was one of those.
Yeah, but they're doing I think 5 of these total collaboration. Each one's a different collab with a different brewery. So different color lines will be coming out soon, I guess, or throughout the year. So I'm not an IPA guy, but I am a Voltron guy. So I mean, come on.
I finished off a 4-pack of that the other night. Some night last week with we just grilled dinner and like have to have a beer in my hand when I'm on the grill. So grab that. It's lovely.
Yeah. I mean, as far as IPAs go, I mean, I like it better than most that I've had. So, there's that. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the next. I'm very curious. You would think in the fall, maybe another one be coming out. That's like maybe a stout or a porter or something.
Yeah.
Something heavier, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And you almost think you've got to hold that for the Black Line or maybe.
The maybe you would think, but they've also got, right now the Fat Elvis that's coming back out. They've got their chocolate milk stout. They've got their Absence of Light. Those are all dark and heavy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It is fall though. Winter.
Yeah.
Coming up.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. The Blues preseason roster has been trimmed to 57. St. Louis Blues president of hockey operations and general manager Doug Armstrong announced today the team has assigned defenseman Michael Buchinger. I guess Buchinger
not going to work here anymore.
Not going to work anymore. Quentin Burns and Matt Mayich to their junior teams. Guelph, Kingston, and Ottawa, respectively. So, names that were not expected to make this roster. They're some of the first cut. So, down to 57. Blues played 3 games so far this preseason. They are 2-1. Their first 2 games was a split squad game with a game in St. Louis and a game in Arizona that Jeff Ponder loves so much. He loves those split squad games. The game in St. Louis was a 3-2 win for the Blues over the Coyotes. A lot more players were in this game that are going to be on the opening day roster than in the other game this night. Bushnevich, Sundqvist, and Kyrou scored in the first period for the Blues to put them up 3-0. St. Louis Blues all-time great Zach Sanford scored in the third for Arizona. Then Kellerman scored with 5.5 minutes to go to cut the lead to 3-2, and that's how it ended. Kyrou and Perunovic got the first and second stars of the game. How great would it be if that was a common occurrence for stars of the game? Kyrou and Perunovic. Yes. 2 guys. One Kyrou, I mean, the guy has like unbelievable offensive skills, but he's just got to, I don't know what the word is.
Find the defensive zone?
Yeah, like a more all-around game.
Right, round it out.
Be more defensively responsible, especially in the neutral zone. Because every time I think about his lack of defensive responsibilities, I think of when McKinnon blew by him in the playoffs. That was unacceptable. I mean, completely. I mean, just rip your hair out, right? Thank God we won that game. Otherwise, but lost the series still. But, and then Perunovic, who has had injury problems to start his NHL career. So hopefully he is healthy and will stay healthy. This season will be great.
I'm planning to watch tomorrow night against Blackhawks, and I'm hoping they hold him out because that was the game that took him out last year.
Oh, we've got the projected lineups for that game later on in the show, so we'll see.
All right.
Joel Hofer started this game and played the first period, stopping 6 out of 6. Zarenko played the final 2 periods, stopping 20 of 22. The Blues were 0 for 1 on the power play, and Arizona was 1 for 3 on the power play. The other game that night was in Arizona.
No, it was not Arizona.
Oh, that's right.
It was,
or was
in, Wichita or something.
Wichita,
like that.
Yeah, Wichita. 5-1 loss. Not a good game. outshot 51-21, which was absurd. Granted, only a few players were in the lineup for the Blues that figured to make the opening day roster. Blay, Torpchenko, and Scandella. So, and Scandella, to me, I mean, I don't know. On the fence, maybe?
He might get wavered and sent to the A to start the season.
Yeah, especially if Perunovic is healthy. I mean, you got to make room for Perunovic. You have to.
Yeah.
If he's healthy and ready to go, you can't not play him.
No, he's got to be there.
You have to. The Blues website does not have the stats for this game listed. You have to go to NHL.com to see them. And I was bitching before the show to Bill about how preseason NHL stats are typically incomplete. They're not in depth. Sometimes they're not out there at all on some sites. They'll just have the score of the game. And it's just, I don't get the complete just ambivalence that the NHL has towards preseason stats sometimes. It's very strange to me. I mean, some people are interested, not that they mean a whole lot, in the grand scheme of things. It is preseason, but still, I mean, people are interested. I mean, especially, media, or podcasts, or just, rabid fans. They want to see these numbers. But Torpchenko scored the lone goal for the Blues early in the third on the power play. Blues were outshot 51-21, as I mentioned, and the roster was horribly thin. Goalie stats are incomplete because, of course, they are. All they show is Subban stopping 30 of 33 for the Blues and Ellis stopping 16 of 18. Nothing else listed for the goalies on NHL.com. So, the Blues were 1 for 3 on the power play, and Arizona was 1 for 4 on the power play. Tuesday night, the Blues beat the Blue Jackets 3-2 in St. Louis. Sundqvist scored again on the power play, his second in 2 preseason games. Veranda and Radcliffe also scored for St. Louis. How great is it to have Sundqvist back? Not just because he's going to be, he figures to be a major contributor on the fourth line, but it feels good to have him back because he wants to be here. The fans want him here. He loves it here. He's made that known. And he's contributing in the preseason early. It's just great. Hopefully he stays healthy, but man, it's fun to see him back in the roster and contributing.
Yeah, when it became known that he was likely coming back here, I got super excited. Love how much he embraces his city, loves his urban chestnut, and super St. Louis City supporter. So yeah, gotta love everything off the ice about him. But he's shown up in the first preseason games, right? Positions you don't expect him to be in, power play goals and that kind of thing. But just he's embracing it, and I love it. If things don't go well this season, and any of the people that are currently wearing letters for this team aren't here at the end of the year, I would love to see him wearing an A.
He wants to be here. Schenn wants to be here. Sundqvist is outspoken about it. Schenn moved mountains by firing his agency to get a deal done to stay here. And we had a former captain who just didn't have that same mindset, I guess, and the desire to be here as much as they and he left.
Yeah, his loyalty was to that same agency, right?
His loyalty was to the agency and getting the best deal for him and his family, which is fine. But I understand wanting to have a defenseman as talented as potential on the team, especially with the way the defense is now. But I think people need to put things into perspective a little bit with him and the fact that, if a player wants to play somewhere, wants to be somewhere, wants to stay somewhere,
they'll make it happen.
Yeah. And the GM would like them to stay or be here. It's going to happen. Schenn made it happen. Who knows what would have happened if Schenn would have taken Pietrangelo's stance and just not gotten involved in negotiations, let his agency take care of everything, not get involved at all. Maybe he's not here. Who knows? I mean, and who knows who the captain would be?
Yeah. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Torey Krug also wants to be here.
Right. That's kind of like a little mini segue, right? Exactly. The Blues were 1 for 4 on the power play. The Blue Jackets were 1 for 4 as well. The Blues were outshot 32-13. Zarenko stopped 20-22, and Hofer stopped 6 of 6. So, so shots against so far in the preseason, the games don't matter in a sense, wins or losses. What does matter is, how the players play, if they're adhering to a new system, if they're, getting their legs under them at the very least, that's that kind of a thing. So it matters in that regard. But just looking at stats, they're 2-1. They've been outshot badly, 110-57. Granted, just preseason, but almost half the shots came in one game against the game against Arizona that we outshot 51 to whatever it was, 21. So yeah, and that game didn't have a great roster on the ice. So, but still, 110-57. That only is like eyebrow raising to me because of the way the defense has been the last 2 seasons, and it was the major problem last season, and that was the main thing that needed to get better in the offseason for this team to have a shot at making the playoffs and be better this season. The defense has to be better, and giving up 110 shots in 3 games is not exactly inspiring.
No.
Right at this point. And again, I don't want to talk about this too much or read too much into it because yes, it's preseason. The fans would be like, "Oh, it's preseason, it doesn't matter." It doesn't matter. But you still want to play well, right? You still want to perform respectably in the preseason. But
yeah. And I think it's a totally different story if Arizona's got 51 shot attempts, right? Right. That 51 actual shots on goal.
I think they missed the goal twice. Yeah. All game.
Yeah, and nobody got in the way, right? Nobody blocked the damn shot.
Yeah, and again, there weren't many regulars in that game, so it is what it is. So at the very least, there's something to keep an eye on, right? Shots against, that was a problem last season. Shots against, too many, not blocking enough shots, not getting in the shooting lane, and in the first 3 games of the preseason, that continues to be a problem. So we'll see if that gets corrected at some point here. I assume it will be. We'll see. The Blues are 2-8 so far on the power play, 25%. It's good. PK is 7 for 10, 70%. Not good. So again, preseason, so something to keep an eye on. The Blues play the Blackhawks Thursday night at 7:30 in Chicago. It's listed as being broadcast on NHL Network, I think, because of Connor Bedard. If you haven't prepared yourself for the Connor Bedard Love Fest in national media, ESPN, whoever, NHL.com, buckle up, because that's every night you're going to see. You're going to see it. I mean, and I'm curious. I'm interested. I'm genuinely, I want to see how he performs too. But at some point during the season, I'm going to get sick of it because it's the Blackhawks, right? And the story tomorrow, when they show the highlights on NHL Network or wherever, it's going to be, what did Connor Bedard do, right, against the Blues? So, and you know what? I'm sure Bedard's going to have his moments this season and maybe have a great season. Who knows? Playing on the top line with Hall and who's he playing with? Hall and someone else. Hall and
Oates.
Oates, right? They said Hall and Bedard have some nice chemistry in the preseason so far. So we'll see how that goes.
Former number 1 overall pick with last year's number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
That's Taylor's not that old, so by NHL standards he's a little bit old, but yeah, man, they can be dangerous.
It seems like forever ago that he had his almost scalped in the pregame skate. Remember that? It was in St. Louis, right? Where he had a collision with his one of his teammates before the game in the pregame skate, and the skate sliced his forehead, and he had a lot of stitches. A lot of stitches.
He was still in Edmonton at that point, right?
I believe so, and I think it was in St. Louis, wasn't it? It was. I was at that game. I think. I don't know. I was either at that game or I remember seeing a clip, a highlight of it, and thinking I was at the game later. I don't know. I may have been drinking.
What else are you going to do when you go to the game?
Right. It's the winter. Yeah. So, but I honestly can't wait until the Hawks become good again, and hopefully the Blues are good again. So they're both good, fighting for the division like the good old days. Those are the best. I mean, yeah, there's a nice hatred going on with Colorado. Dallas is always, did a dislike with Dallas, as long as Jamie Benn's still there. But the Blackhawks is like, timeless, right? So it's as soon as both teams are fighting for the division again or close to it, it's gonna be barn burners, hopefully. And it'd be great if the NHL would schedule more division games.
Instead of the 3 that we get.
Yeah, you watch. Say in 2 years, the Blackhawks and Blues are both up there in discussions with possibly winning the division, and they play each other 3 times. It's like, what the fuck? 3 times? It used to be 8. A long time ago, it used to be 8.
And that's why we hated them so much.
Let's do 6. Just compromise. Let's go to 6 games. 3 home, 3 away.
Do we really have to play the Senators twice a year?
No, nobody wants to see that.
See, this is where I've always been torn on that, right? Is that I was a Montreal fan, right? And the only way that I would get to see them is if they do this, crazy cut out more division.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
I am on the ball.
You
haven't ran point on the show all summer.
Right.
Right. I nailed it right at 10 o'clock.
And no producer Austin due to the allegations.
That's right. We don't need anybody. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, no, growing up, it was like when early 90s when they decided that they were going to get away from playing every team home and away. Like that was always a thing in the 80s. So I could guarantee that I can get to go see Patrick Waugh play, right, every year. And then in the early 90s, they got away from that. And then they went back to it. I'm like, oh, younger me is super happy about this. But I don't know. It's fine at this point. Go back to more divisional games.
Yeah. I mean, you're especially if you're going to have playoffs that are divisional playoffs.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if that's the way you're doing it, then have more. I've been on this horse for years. If you're going to have divisional playoffs, you need to have more divisional games, because if divisional seeding is a thing, then you need to have more games against your division to have more accurate seeding within the division. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I understand the desire to, everyone in the league gets to see Connor Bedard or McDavid or Crosby, Ovechkin. I get it. I get the desire, but honestly, I bet I bet most fans would rather see more division games against their rivals than to see Ovechkin come in once a season. Or, you know what I mean? You can watch. I mean, yeah, he maybe won't play against your team if there's more division games. You can watch him all you want on TV. It's not like you can't see him. It's not like it's 1980 where you got to have this huge ass satellite in your backyard just to watch some games. You can watch him anytime you want. It's not against your team.
Yeah, but how great was having that huge satellite dish in the backyard? Right?
That was pretty. My cousin Jeff had one, and it was like futuristic, man. I was like, I can watch stations from Canada.
Right?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he recorded like several games in French, the TSN,
Yeah.
Blues versus Nordiques, Blues versus Canadians, and I hope I still have that VHS somewhere, but I probably will never take the time to figure out if I do.
I was over at his house to see two pretty epic games. It was Kings and Flames, where they removed the partition between the benches to get at each other during a fight.
Yeah.
And then also I was over at his house for the McSorley stick incident in the playoffs in the final. Montreal and the Kings.
Yeah. 93.
And that was, I believe, that one may have been on ESPN. But we watched a number of games on satellite there. That was fun.
Yeah. I always loved it when he had he'd pull out the Canada Cup tapes.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Larmer bloodying Tommy Soderstrom with that slap shot that smashed the mask. Loved it.
Loved it. Love it. All right. On the I think I'm gonna ready for a break here. We've got on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about Torey Krug and his comments. He's finally talking about the issue during the offseason, during the summer, when he was asked to waive his no trade clause and did not. And he talked to the media about that the other day. And on the other side of the break, we'll talk about that. You're listening to Kurt and Bill on Let's Go Blues Radio.
We'll return after these messages.
Every beer league hockey night, I grab my hockey bag and sticks and throw them in the trunk of my car. And the very next thing I do, I mix up a boost of energy courtesy of RockinThatIDLife.com. It's formulated to break up its delivery in 3 ways, which helps me get through all 3 periods of hockey. Phase 1 provides a rapid onset of energy, concentration, alertness, and motivation. By period 2, I'm receiving a dose of sustained energy, increased focus, metabolism, cognitive function, performance, and feelings of well-being, which I need with the way I play. In Phase 3, I'm getting fatigue protection without jitters and crash, an elevated mood, and a reduction of fluid retention to help me make the big play when it counts. This same triphasic approach helps me when I drink it during work hours or simply just for a pick-me-up when I need it. Try one of the 4 energy flavors by visiting RockinThatIDLife.com, but make sure to email Dustin at RockinThatIDLife@gmail.com and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you to receive an additional 10% off your order. That's RockinThatIDLife.com.
Center Ice Brewery is a beer lover's dream for hockey fans. Based in St. Louis, Missouri, owner Steve Albers has been brewing hockey-themed favorites for thirsty sports fans since 2017. From the Beauty IPA to the Old Arena Lager, a cold, frosty, hockey-themed beer is just what the doctor ordered for hockey fans in St. Louis. Make sure to check your local beer store for Center Ice Brewery beer today. LGB. Let's go beer.
During the magical 2019 playoff run, I was in the midst of buying my current home. Every time I spoke with my realtor, obviously, home buying was the discussion. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't stop thinking about what was destined to happen for our St. Louis hockey team. If only there were a realtor who could have walked me through the process, held my hand when needed, but was there to be a sounding board when I wanted to complain about a certain hand pass goal. Let realtor Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage be that for you. He'll have your needs top of mind as he skates you through the home buying or selling process, dangling you past any obstacles and assisting on all your home goals. Check out strikewithmike.com for more information or give him a call directly at 314-753-4060. That's Mike Burgoyne with Real Brokerage at strikewithmike.com, and that number again is 314-753-4060. Don't forget to tell Mike that Let's Go Blues Radio sent you.
And now, back to Let's Go Blues Radio, the longest running St. Louis Blues podcast with Price, Ponder, and Day.
Justin Scott in the YouTube chat says he asked if he wanted to hear our thoughts on his comments that he made on Hayes and Verana, and his comments Hayes and Vrana, where Hayes and Vrana managed the puck very well. Hayes was very good on the back check and not being lazy. Our defense was rough last year, but we know these guys aren't as bad as they showed last season. I'm happy Hayes is on the team. I think he'll fit in. Hopefully he fits in very well, and I agree with you on his back checking responsibilities. I think Vrana was a fantastic surprise. Very talented forward, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do in a full season. Hopefully it wasn't like just a bump in his stats because of a new team, new situation. Hopefully that maintains because production. I don't think this team is going to be in trouble as far as production goes. I think we're going to produce okay. I think offense. I think we're going to be okay. There's plenty of offense up there to put up some goals. I think the obviously the elephant in the room is the defense and how the offense plays in the defensive zone. The defensive responsibilities, you're back checking. And like you mentioned, Justin, I agree with you. Hayes being one of the guys, his back check will help. Hopefully Kyrou being a year older and understanding back checking a little more. Thomas too. Thomas isn't innocent. He had his moments last season where he was poor on the back check. And Shen being a captain that, probably a different leadership style than O'Reilly, more of a probably rah guy, in your face guy, more hard nosed, than O'Reilly. So I think that might inspire guys a different way on the ice as far as work ethic may go. So, and I agree that the a lot of this team and the defense included, I'm still on board that this defense can be good or much better anyway than they showed last season. They just have to do it. They have to. Parayko is talented. Krug is talented. Falk is talented. They just didn't play well last season and the season before that. So, I mean, I may abandon ship 20, 30 games into the season if they're still playing that way and think just you got to blow it up. But, I'm hopeful that they will be improved from last season, especially with Mike Weber as defensive coach.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, whenever we've talked about it through the summer, right? It's, if Weber can fix the problems on the D, then that's going to go that's going to be the biggest improvement to this team. The D is the question mark, absolutely 100% the question mark. Having a guy in Kevin Hayes, veteran guy, who just, not a good fit with, what's his name in Philly? Tortorella, guy that's happy to have gotten out of hell. And a guy who's been a very good player throughout his career. Him showing this, the ability on the back check early on, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but O'Reilly kind of disappointed, a perennial Selke guy. He wasn't the kind of guy that made an impact enough on this team last year defensively to fix those woes. And if Hayes plays like he does, and maybe Shen can inspire people in different ways than O'Reilly in his stoicism and lead by example kind of thing that he did, there's upside here.
I mean, remember last season, O'Reilly's offensive struggles were just, I don't know what the word is, unheard of, unbelievable. It was late in the season and he had only had like 9 assists or something. It was under 10, under double digits in assists well into the season. And I was like, man, that was, I mean, and didn't have a goal for the longest time. I for whatever reason, he fell off a cliff last season.
I think the whatever reason is David Perron didn't come back.
That's true.
And that's one of my dark fears about this season is that Perron winds up in Nashville. If Nashville's pushing the ball towards playoff time, to see him in Nashville is going to make me sick.
Yeah, but O'Reilly was good before he was, paired up with Perron in St. Louis.
But once he got paired up with Perron, they were inseparable.
I know.
It's hard, as you know, with a guy who develops chemistry, right? It is very hard to find chemistry with other players after that. It takes a while.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, I get it. But I mean, O'Reilly was very productive before coming to St. Louis and before with Perron. So you would have thought that he'd be able to adjust and develop chemistry with somebody else. He did have chemistry with who was it? Shoot. Forgot his name last season for the first, I don't know. He had some chemistry with
Josh Levo.
Josh Levo, yes. That was a weird pairing that worked.
Yeah.
But then that fell apart.
Ethic guys, though.
Yeah, that lasted about 15 games, right? And then that fell apart.
Right. And Levo wasn't going to get the minutes that O'Reilly was going to get.
And that's the problem. You can't put him on the first line, second line, consistently.
Right. And you don't want a Conn Smythe winning, former Selke winning guy pushed to the third line just because you got chemistry with somebody. And
Justin Scott in the chat says, I'll never hate on Ryan O'Reilly. The guy has high expectations for himself. And I get it. I'm not an O'Reilly hater by any means. I love Ryan O'Reilly. He had a rough year last year, and just, calling him as we see him. It was bad.
On the subject of haters of Ryan O'Reilly, I don't think he has a lot of fans in Toronto now. I saw somebody said, yeah, he just wanted to go where there was no pressure in country music. That's they're really trying to dismiss that whole experiment.
Maybe. Well, okay. Now, to a veteran like O'Reilly, who's won a cup and he's had a lot of success in the NHL, you would think that the pressures in Toronto would be less likely to affect him like it would some other players who maybe haven't won. He's been there, done that. Granted, I'm sure there's pressure, immense pressure, but he's a guy that has the resume. Sure, there's pressure, but whatever. You think he'd be able to tune it out? Maybe not, but you think with what he's accomplished already, he wouldn't have as much pressure on him as some other people, maybe. So Torey Krug spoke about not waiving his no trade clause this last off season. In late June, the Blues had asked Torey Krug to waive his no trade clause for a deal that would have sent him to the Philadelphia Flyers. Krug spoke with reporters after practice on Tuesday. He said, I chose to stay here. I want to be a part of this room and love playing for this city and wearing the Blue Note. So it's something I'm very excited about. Obviously, you don't like hearing things like that. I have kids, I have a family, and a lot of things to think about. But at the end of the day, I want to be here and wear the note. Krug said there were hard feelings at first, but after some conversations with Armstrong this summer, he's past it and has moved on. Krug also said, I have a great relationship with Doug. I think very highly of him, and he's one of the reasons I chose to come to St. Louis with his winning history and his past. We've worked together to move on and move forward. I'm sure he expects me to be a professional, pull on my end of the rope and be part of this room. If Krug had accepted a trade to the Flyers, it's possible they try and move him at some point since they're rebuilding, right? So, and he'd have to move his family again. So right. I'm thinking that, and this is in an article written by Rutherford in The Athletic. So bits and pieces of this are from that. And I think, and that's something that people didn't really probably think about at all, that, he didn't waive his no trade clause, which he has every right to do. That's fine. He negotiated in his contract. Armstrong gave it to him. He wants to stay here. That doesn't bother me. And I don't think fans think about that. Philadelphia is rebuilding. They're probably a few years away from having a good team, at least. And there's probably a good chance they'd move him at some point again at a deadline, because if he has a good season for Philadelphia, I mean, in a few years, he's going to be, older and he may not be part of their plans. So they'd probably move him again. So I don't think people really thought about that because and that's something he thought about. So,
right. And I think that's just the thing in general. Fans don't think about is the family side of things, right? These are human beings with human considerations, and uprooting your family and moving them. I mean, we had Mike McKenna on here a couple of years ago, and just he didn't move his family a whole lot, but he was the guy that was always on the moving away from the family. That's got to be so super difficult, right? And it's not something that as we talk the hockeys, we don't focus on that all that much. And I think it's a very valid thing for Torey Krug to have said, no, I came here for a reason. I haven't accomplished that. I don't want to put my family, in a shitty situation. So let's get to work.
And I think, I touched on it before, with Sundqvist and Shen wanting to be here. Krug wants to be here for reasons he's listed. So I kind of wish, and I understand the attitude a lot of fans have towards Krug because his play has not been what we wanted it to be or what it needs to be. He's been hurt. Has not been as good as he needed to be, and he's making $6.5 million per season, so he needs to be better. So I get the fans being critical of him for that. That's fair. But on the other hand, he wants to be here, right? So it's like there has to be, I'm thinking, for me anyway, personally, I appreciate a player who really wants to play for the team that I'm rooting for. If you really want to be here, that makes a difference to me. Perron, I really wanted Perron to be here. I get it. Fans did. They love Perron. He wanted to stay. That's part of the reason why Perron was loved. He wanted to stay here. Sundqvist wants to be here, makes his home here. He wants to stay here. He's here. And I think that hopefully Krug has a bounce back season, and I hope fans appreciate the fact that he also wanted to stay here. And hopefully this is one of these situations where, man, thank God that trade didn't happen, because there's all kinds of things, all kinds of trades in the past where I was like, man, this trade almost happened. Good thing it didn't, because look what happened. So, and I think we wanted Hayes in that deal too. Anyway, it was a package deal. I think Hayes was supposed to come back, but with somebody, with another defenseman, I forgot the defenseman's name for Philadelphia that was going to come back this way. Sanheim. Yeah. So, but then we got the guy we wanted anyway, in Hayes. So there's that. But JR's article, his JR's article in the Athletic mentioned that if Krug wants to be part of the solution, then he must be part of the solution. So, and he wasn't last season. That's why the Blues wanted to include him in a trade that would have brought Philadelphia defenseman, Sanheim to St. Louis. They wanted to move the final 4 years of Krug's contract, $6.5 million average annual value for a player in Sanheim who is just beginning an 8-year, $50 million deal, which is $6.25 million per with the Flyers this season. Imagine, it's weird because, they just signed him to an 8-year contract and then he was on the table to be traded. I in the past, just a few years ago, I'd be like, man, that guy just signed a 6-year deal or an 8-year deal. He's not getting picked up by anybody. It's too much money for a team to take on. Here we go. But Krug was going to be moved for Sanheim, and it's a, whatever. It seems like a crazy. It's a weird place to be in a GM, to sign a guy for 8 years and then turn around and want to trade him right away. It's kind of strange, but whatever you think makes your team better, I guess. Injuries have been an issue for Krug. He played in 178 of 220 regular season games as a Blue and 7 of 16 playoff games. He did suffer a foot injury before Christmas last year and is currently rehabbing another foot injury he suffered during off-season training. And he hopes to get back into full practices soon and play in a couple of preseason games before the season starts. Krug really, really, really needed to come into camp healthy, right? I mean, and ready to go. And I think, the hope for Krug to be healthy this season and to have a bounce back season took a hit with his injury before training camp, because it's like, oh man, again, because that's just like, I mean, you waive the trade, you don't waive your no trade clause, so you nix the trade, and then you get hurt in training, and that's just like, he's really got to overcome an awful lot to win back a lot of Blues fans, because Blues fans are down on him a lot this offseason because they wanted him traded, and he was on the block to be traded, and he nixed it, and then he gets hurt, and now he's missing time in training camp. It's just, he can't win for losing. So, I mean, God, I want to root for, I want him to better himself so bad. I want him to succeed so bad. So I think he can be that player we need him to be. He's just got to get there. And it's just, I feel so bad for him. So Krug was asked what he'd do if the trade talks came up again, and if he'd use his no trade clause, if he'd use his no trade clause again. He mentioned wanting to win hockey games, and that he thinks a lot about losing in 2 Stanley Cup finals. He wants to do what's best for his career, and he feels that staying in St. Louis and winning hockey games, that's what's best for his career, he feels. But, so my question is, what if they aren't winning this season, the Blues? And what if there are no playoffs for the Blues? And what if a trade comes up? And say he's playing well this season. Say he has a nice season, rebounds nicely. And what if a trade comes up at the deadline? So if the Blues aren't in the playoffs and he's playing well, and there's a trade on the table to send him to a contender where he had a shot at a cup, then would he waive his no trade clause? Because obviously waiving it to go to Philly, they're not winning a cup anytime soon. So if a trade comes along to send him to a contender that might win a cup, I wonder if he would waive his no trade clause then if the Blues aren't in the playoff hunt come the trade deadline. That would be interesting to me, because you would think that Armstrong would trade him in a second again, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and at that point, it's a different story. With him starting on the IR this year, again, assuming Perunovich doesn't break his wrist in tomorrow night's game, Perunovich is going to get a great chance to fill in the role that Torey Krug has been slotted to play for this team, right? And if he performs very well and makes Krug that more expendable, then maybe he moves. But with comments that were made, and with him being a professional, I want to see Torey Krug here. I want to see him successful. But yeah, there's that chance that the window could be open for an opportunity for him to exit later this year.
And Perunovich is scheduled to be in the lineup tomorrow.
Damn it.
And Justin Scott says in the YouTube chat, Curbs and Joey said it last night. They feel it's impossible to have as bad of a season as they had again on the defensive side. I don't know about impossible, because it's not the worst defense I've ever seen, but it was pretty bad.
Right.
But
I still have the same guys.
You have the same guys, except for maybe Perunovich, right? Is going to play, hopefully.
And he doesn't excel on the defensive side of the ball.
No. But the best defense is a good offense too. So maybe puck possession would play, come into play a little bit there. I
games
agree.
Do you think he's gonna? How many games do you think Berube's gonna have 7 defensemen, and he's just gonna run power play?
Oh man, if he's a liability defensively, I guess until he gets his defensive game, to where it needs to be, I understand it, but that's not a good position to be in. You don't want to roll 11 forwards, right? So I mean, if you don't have to, they may very well start the season. It would not shock me at all to see the Blues roll 7 defensemen to start the season. And if that's the case, again, it's like not having a captain to start the season. It's just a failure on management's part to put together the team that's needed to start the season. 7 defensemen tells me, well, something's not right on this roster, and it wasn't addressed in the offseason properly. To start the season, barring injury issues and stuff like that. But I agree with what Kerber and Vitale said, I guess, about the Blues not having as bad a season this year as last. I'd bet money they'll be better, but how much better, I don't know. I mean, they were pretty bad last year. I will die on the hill that this defense has a lot more talent than what they've shown. So if that can ever just come together and gel as an entire defensive unit that actually plays well together, then we're talking. And hopefully Mike Weber is part of that solution. A new voice, a new leader on defense as far as strategy and schemes go. That can make a big difference. So, we called for this all last season. Fire Van Ryn, get somebody else in there, get a new voice, get a new direction, get new whatever. Yeah, I mean, you can't because you couldn't move most of the defense that you needed to move because they had no trade clauses. You couldn't do anything with them. So the only thing you could do was fire Van Ryn, and they finally did in the offseason. So we'll see. I mean, and if Weber is helps with that, and the defense is better, fantastic, great. Let's go. Let's see. Other comments we got in YouTube chat. Matt Harris says, y'all see Allmark's new pads? Is it the ones with the notes, the wings at the bottom?
That was Zherenko.
That was Renko. Okay.
Yeah. Allmark's Boston.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Fully gear nerds gotta have them.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I read Allmark and I was thinking Zherenko.
Tristan Jarry has Tom and Jerry race car theme. I don't like that.
You don't like that?
The Tristan Jarry one, that's not good. Let me see where
I gotta see it first.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, that's the pads. Ooh, who's got a Game of Thrones?
Justin Scott agrees. Firing Van Ryn was 100% the way to go, and I think we were on board with that. 30 games in the last season?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It was just like a nonstop. It's like, what are you doing? Why is he still here? Just listen to us sooner. Like retiring Pronger's number. Just listen to the show, and we get this stuff right. It just takes a while for the team to catch up to where we are.
And if you like what you hear, then hire us as consultants.
Yeah. This team look a lot different. I don't know if it'd be for the better, but look a lot different. All right. So
would be yellow numbers once again.
What's that? Oh yeah, right.
Yellow numbers once again.
Yeah, I tweeted out earlier tonight. Bring back the yellow numbers. My God, I didn't like the white numbers. I'm okay. The white numbers on the back. I'm like, okay, all right, change of pace. It was okay for a little bit. But I'm like, nah, I'm tired of this. Bring back the yellow letters all the way. Numbers. Hey, Bill, have you ever had Steve's hot dogs?
Unfortunately, I have not.
I haven't either. Every time I see an ad online or something or a post from them or whatever, I'm like, man, I got to have one of his hot dogs. They won, they're the official hot dog of St. Louis.
Right.
They won they were up for the best hot dog in the world. Did you see that? Some kind of worldwide or poll. I don't know how they even know that. Like anyone could even know that, Napoleon. Second Napoleon Dynamite reference
right
in this shoe.
You got on such a roll I couldn't even say, Tina, get some ham.
Tina, come get some ham. You fat lard. Can you that movie was so quotable when it came out.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for all the girls named Tina at the time.
Absolutely.
Just like I feel bad for all the Karens nowadays.
No, I still, every time I hear Tina, that's exactly
You
what
go
I
get
think.
some ham to you fat lard. So Steve Ewing, frontman of the band The Urge, also co-owns Steve's Hot Dogs, which is officially the official hot dog of St. Louis, which I mentioned. How does one get that title, official hot dog of St. Louis? You got to like pay somebody, some alderman. I don't know. How do we become the official podcast of St. Louis? Who we got to talk to?
Yeah.
So anyway, now he has his hot dog shop, which is Steve's Hot Dogs, inside Enterprise Center and City Park. Steve Ewing said, "I'm a lifelong blues fan. Getting to have a hand in writing the Blues Goal song was a bucket list experience, and now having our restaurant expand into Enterprise Center is truly a dream come true," said Steve. Their menu will consist of their traditional St. Louis-style hot dog, the Gorilla Mac and Cheese dog, the Very Veggie dog, which is vegan, and a plain hot dog. They will also offer mac and cheese bowls to warm up folks sitting near the ice. The Blue Note dog, which will be only available at Blues games, which I went to the website earlier tonight and I saw that today's special at Steve's Hot Dogs was the Blue Note dog. So it might not be as exclusive at Blues games as they may want you to believe, but
they may just be perfecting it, right?
True. That's true. The Blue Note dog is a smoked all beef hot dog topped with creamy mac and cheese, St. Louis style wing sauce, and blue cheese on a French bun. That sounds great, except for the blue cheese. Not a fan of the stinky cheese. You a blue cheese fan?
I am.
You are? Okay. All right.
Time. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I either love it or you hate it, right? There's not much middle ground blue cheese.
Yeah. It's my go-to. Anytime there's buffalo sauce involved.
Okay.
But I also enjoy it in other scenarios. But yeah.
Okay. All right. When I was a waiter at the Oaks Lodge, all the old folks, they loved their blue cheese dressing on their salads. The creamy blue cheese. And there were a number of folks that loved the creamy blue cheese, and then they want the dry Roquefort, the dry blue cheese sprinkled on top. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They would request that all the time. So I just, custom made their salads for them. Then you go back and they got all the dressing, all of the lips because they're old and they don't. I don't know. I'm going with that. There was a lady who used to come in there and she wore just a ton of makeup, ton of lipstick, and she put that lipstick on so thick that it was like crumbly on her lips. And I'm like, you have a husband. Your husband is sitting right there. Why is he not? Tell your wife she's got a desert on her face. I don't know. And I remember Steve's Hot Dogs a few years ago. They announced he was closing his doors. Remember that? Yeah. They said that he's closed. The one of the bridges that was shut down was a Martin Luther King bridge. The construction hurt his business, and then when they finished construction, that business never came back. And I guess coming out of the pandemic too, it was just not good, and he closed. And they said there was an article in St. Louis Magazine that said he's hanging up his tongs and going back to doing more band stuff. But apparently he's doing fine now, reopened, and he's got his shop at the Hill and Tower Grove East closed, but now he's got a shop in Enterprise Center, City Park, and I think one or two others. So
it was a tough call for me, the one city game I got to this year, but I had to go with Balkan Treat Box. That's amazing, but yeah, next time I'm back in the building, I'm definitely getting Steve's.
I was at City Park for the bronze boot game between SIUE and SLU, and SIUE beat SLU for the first time in like 40 years.
Wow!
To win the bronze boot, and they beat him 2-0. SLU was ranked, I think, 15th in the country, and SIUE beat him, knocked him out of the top 25, and SIUE is darn close to cracking the top 25, I think. So they have a really good team.
That's awesome.
But that was a great game. But but speaking of food, they didn't have the regular shops open, the food vending open there.
Yeah.
They had like just the carts and stuff because I guess the crowd, it was a college game.
Expected to be smaller and less wealthy.
Right. Yeah, probably. And it was like the place was not even half full. They didn't open up most of it, but there was a good crowd there for it though. I think it was the biggest crowd SLU has played in front of ever. I think there was like 10,000 people there, so over half full. I guess it was 9,000 people there, something like that. Yeah. So anyway, good for Steve's Hot Dogs. I think next time, if I think about it, next time I'm in St. Louis, I'm gonna stop by and get a hot dog. Just I mean, the thing is with me and hot dogs, like because his hot dogs have a lot of stuff on them. I'm not a lot of stuff on a hot dog guy. I'm like mustard, chili, right? That's about as far as I go is with my hot dogs, chili. I don't do a ton of stuff. I don't like the Chicago dog with those 14 things on my hot dog. I just don't do it. But I could do mac and cheese. I could do mustard. I could do some other stuff on a hot dog. I gotta custom make it though. There's none of this blue cheese stuff.
When I was a kid, the idea of sauerkraut just in general disgusted me.
Yeah.
And this year, I found there's a brand that makes different flavors of sauerkraut, and there's a whiskey dill sauerkraut that you can get at Fresh Time, and pair that with a dill mustard on a hot dog, and it's amazing. Like for a guy, on the wrong side of 45, I eat more hot dogs than I should, but that's the main reason why.
Do you are you a ketchup on a hot dog guy?
I'm not. When I was younger, I was, but
there are people getting knocked down, drag out fights over ketchup on a hot dog. And it's like an abomination, like pineapple on a pizza. And if we ever have Steve Ewing on the show, which we'll try to do, I'm going to ask him if he puts ketchup on his hot dog ever. Matt Harris says, I believe that they had posted that the Blue Note dog was the special for all the locations in honor of the new stall opening Enterprise. Okay, that makes sense. But on the Blues website, they did say available exclusively at the one in Enterprise. So that's not really true. Whoever wrote that article, Chris Pinkert, maybe it's you. Looking at you, Chris. Next up for the Blues, Thursday night. That's tomorrow for you folks listening live right now, and tonight for you listening on the podcast tomorrow or Thursday or today. If you're listening tomorrow, it's today.
Or yesterday if you're listening on Friday. What the
right.
hell is wrong with
or
you?
if you're listening last week, wait a second. The puck Thursday night at the Chicago Bedards. The puck drops at 7:30 p.m. with the game available to subscribers on ESPN Plus. Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale will also have the call on 101 ESPN and the Blues app. Thursday's lineup in Chicago is expected to include Bushnevich, Neighbors, Thomas, Parayko, and more. The actual game day lineup is Alexandrov, Bolduc, Bushnevich, Dean, Gaudette, Holscher, McGing, McEachern, and McEachern's still around.
He came back.
Yeah, I know. What I mean is he's still here. Right.
No, I was shocked to see him playing for Carolina on a line with Paul Stastny in the final or the Eastern Finals.
I'm like, can we just wash our hands of McEachern? I don't know. I've never
bring back Chris Porter.
Yes, the guy always scored big goals against Detroit. Neighbors, Ritchie, Thomas, Walker. And on defense, we got Duzak, Parayko, Perunovich, Kelly Rosen, Skinner, and Tucker. So, Tucker or Rosen, Bill? Which camp are you in? Because both of them aren't making the opening day lineup.
7 defenseman system with Krug and IR both are.
Okay. Right. If everyone's healthy, they're not.
God, Kelly Rosen really showed something last year. I think you have to. I I think it'll be good to see both of them in a 7 defenseman system to see what Rosen, is he going to be the same player he was last year, or was it just kind of a flash in the pan? Otherwise, you got to give it to the young guy, get him more experience.
Yeah, I think as long as Rosen plays like he did last season, you got to play him. Tucker, I'm all about seeing what Tucker's got, but not at the expense of playing Rosen right now. Anyway, if somebody gets hurt, yeah, play Tucker. I'm not so. People are like loving Tucker. A lot of fans are, and I'm not there yet. I think it's because he's just big and tough and fights. I think that's all some fans need, which whatever. But Rosen does a lot more for me. So I'm a Rosen guy right now. So we'll see if that changes. And goalies, Hofer and Cranley are in net. No, Bennington has not played yet in the preseason.
That's fine.
So yeah.
Can you imagine? You mentioned Hugh McGang's going to be in there. Yeah. Can you imagine if Hugh McGang ended Connor Bedard's season with a weird, even accidental collision at center ice?
You know what? The Hawks did ruin Prunovic's season last season, right?
That's right.
So, hey, eye for an eye, right?
It's karma.
That's the same. Prunovic for Bedard, sure, that's the same.
Yeah, Prunovic. It was Prunovic is the reason we didn't make the playoffs and go on a run.
Can you imagine the level of hysteria if Bedard were to go down with a season-ending injury?
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine the pearl clutching by Darren Pang? Oh, and this all could happen. Tune in tomorrow night, folks.
It's gonna be at Donnybrook. Rapid fire tidbits from around the NHL. Goaltender Corey Schneider has retired after 13 seasons. I remember it, man. He was the shit for a couple seasons there, a few seasons. He was like the guy to have, right? The backup.
Yeah, but
coming out of Vancouver.
Yeah, but he was also the reason why Luongo didn't stay in Vancouver and probably should have. But
yeah, I know. But
yeah, no, I mean he had a great career, college career at Boston. We was Boston College, just such a highly touted guy coming up. And had some great early years in Boston, but hip injuries, I think, took a toll.
Crosby thinks McDavid can eclipse 170 points this season. We have like 150 last season, 152, something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's only 18 points more, so I guess it's not out of the question. But man, it's fun to see offense in the NHL. There were half a dozen 100-point getters last season, something like that. So, and that was for a long while, nobody even touched 100 points, and all of a sudden it's like come out of the woodwork. So that's fun to see. The first woman full-time AHL coach behind the Kraken bench for a preseason game. Jessica Campbell joined a growing group of women to coach an NHL game when she was behind the bench for the Seattle Kraken's preseason game against the Calgary Flames at Climate Pledge Arena on Monday. The 31-year-old followed Corey Chevrolet in reaching the milestone. Chevrolet, head coach of the new Professional Women's Hockey League franchise in Montreal, was a guest coach for the Pittsburgh Penguins on Sunday. And if you've seen a picture of her, the one that they have on NHL.com, let's see if I can bring it up here.
I'm looking at the outline right now.
Yeah, let me
share it for our YouTubers.
Yeah, I will share it. Let's see. Let's pull it up here. Share screen. There it is. Oh, nope, not that one. That one. There we go. So she looks like a no-nonsense, hard-ass bitch. Which you have to be, right? I mean, if you're a female coach in a men's league, I mean, especially at this high level, you've got to command respect. I I was gonna try and tie Babcock into this somehow. Like she's got to be Babcock-like, but not be Babcock. You know what I mean? Just to you know. But I mean, the picture they're using. Maybe she's not this way at all, but she looks like she's getting ready to rip somebody's head off.
Yeah.
On the bench. So that's good for her. I'm curious to see how far this is going to go. How many women are going to be over time assistant coaches behind the bench in the NHL. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see more and more women in various roles in all the major professional sports league, right? Coach for the 49ers was kind of the first one a couple of years ago, and officiating, that we're starting to see more and more there. So yeah, it's I'm all for it. Bring it on.
Matt Harris says, "Good for her, queen shit." Queen shit. I assume he means that's queen shit.
Yes.
In a good way, right, Matt? Yeah. So that about. I think I've got. Does that wrap up all the topics? That does. Any other interesting comments here in the YouTube chats? Justin Scott says you cannot hit Bedard, otherwise you get fined. Is that the Gretzky rule? You know what? That'll be interesting too to see how much he's protected by the officials and by his team. Let's see if there's a McSorley on that team to protect Bedard. See, Rosen. Justin Scott says Rosen is underrated. To be honest, he plays quick and simple. I agree completely. He was arguably our best defenseman last season. You might not think that means much on a team that was very poor defensively overall, but he was actually pretty good, I thought. So, let's see what else we got. Anything else? That's about it. Yeah, Matt Harris says queen shit in a positive and supportive way. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I picked up what you put down, Matt. All right. Anything else, Bill? We'll wrap it up.
No, other than we expect Ponder to be out a few more weeks due to additional allegations since he is in Vegas.
Right. You want me to play that? Do I have it up still?
Oh, tell me you still have it.
Did I didn't. Let's see. I'll pull it up. Let's see. Hold on.
We have to end with this, right?
Yeah, hold on. It'll take a second. I got to pull it up again. I don't know why I closed it. The problem with these stupid little shorts is you can't. It's hard to pause the video. You gotta. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Share that screen. Norm Macdonald. All right. So yeah. So these. Norm Macdonald's actually breaking this news, right, about Jeff Ponder?
Yes, he is.
And the extended allegations, I guess, if you will.
Yes.
So here we go.
They have a motto in Vegas. They got their own slogan for the city. It says, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas," which is not true. You can't kill a guy and then just leave, So I thought, well, what does it mean anyways? And I ruminated about it. Days and days and nights, sleepless weeks became sleepless more weeks. And finally, it occurred to me. It was so simple. It was right in front of my face the entire time. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. All it really means is you can go to Vegas, you can have sex with a prostitute. She will not tell your wife. They're very discreet. Not like these gossipy small town whores back where you live. These fucking blabbermouths down at the beauty parlor with that pale blue thing over their head, whatever the fuck that is. Going, "You're Marge Majerison, John Neal's wife?" Well, by God, I took a shit on him last night. Nice fella. They have a
nice fella. So yeah, and yeah, Ponder is in Vegas vacationing during the allegations. So yes. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, that's not really true. Now we know.
Now we know exactly what happens.
Sorry, the audio was low there. That was a soft clip.
Yeah,
I had it up as high as it would go.
Right, last minute edition. So
yeah, for you podcast folks, it should be it'll be bumped up in post. And that's about it. Support for Let's Go Blues Radio is brought to you in part by ID Life, the world's only truly personalized vitamin platform based on a health assessment of your DNA. Visit rockinthatidlife.com for more information. That's rockinthatidlife.com and get 10% off. That's 10% off by emailing Dustin at rockinthatidlife.com, rockinthatidlife@gmail.com, and tell him Let's Go Blues Radio sent you. And by Mike Burgoyne from Real Brokerage Realty. Visit strikewithmike.com today for all of your home buying and selling needs. That's strikewithmike.com. And by Sunrise Brewery, St. Louis's tasty hockey-themed beer. Check out your local beer vendors for availability. That's Sunrise Brewery beer. Please drink responsibly. That'll wrap up episode 21 of season 12 of the original St. Louis Blues Hockey Podcast, Let's Go Blues Radio. Thanks for listening, and thanks to those who participated in the YouTube and Facebook live chats during the live show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. For Bill Day and the allegations-ridden Jeff Ponder and Austin Lynch, I am Kurt Price. Until next time, everyone, what stays in Vegas, or what happens in Vegas, stays in Vegas. Let's go Blues.
Let's go Blues. And Chinese Kings.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
You thought I was going to say, son of a bitch, didn't you?
I think we're still in the air. Hold on. We are.
You're not supposed to see this part.
No, you're not.
There will be more allegations.
Why won't it stop? Bonus content.
Yeah. Other podcasts make you pay for a Patreon for this, but